In this video, I'm going to reveal something to you, a way of thinking that's going to change how you view yourself and how you view, honestly, how you view reality. This is something I've been diving into myself with new conclusions that are happening in the field of quantum physics, which has been a field of study outside of the physics that we know and understand, that's beginning to attempt to explain the workings of our universe and how reality actually works. And so I'm going to talk about how there's other versions of you and what you can do to kind of tune to these other versions, as well as some work that's been done by Professor David Deutsch, who's at the Oxford University in England, who's actually done work on this and has a little something to say about the other versions of you out there. And so with that being said, let's get right into the video. Quantum physics, quantum reality. In one sentence, what does this field actually attempt to explain? Basically, it attempts to explain that there are other versions of you living in parallel universes. And this is based on research that they've done in observing subatomic particles, observing things at the atomic level and how they actually work. This explains a lot. It could explain why we have dreams and why we have hallucinogenic experiences and what we see when we remove the filters in our brain, the left analytical mind, which oftentimes filters out much of this information, that filters out other wavelengths and wave bands of information. Think about when your body goes to sleep, right? You've had a dream and you're actually, going through some crazy experience, and sometimes we even have dreams that are so realistic that you think it's already happened, right? I actually woke up in a dream recently and I thought I was living in reality. I'd woken up inside of another dream. Like, that's some Inception stuff right there. But when you're in this dream, basically what they conclude here is based on the way particles behave and something called superposition, meaning a particle can be in multiple places at once. And you, of course, are made of particles. So what this attempts to explain is you made up of particles, just like a particle itself, can be in multiple places at once. When you go to sleep and you turn off your conscious mind, that's in this version of physical reality, you connect to the ethereal mind, the subconscious mind. And that is able to produce visual effects that you would see otherwise when you were awake, visual effects of another version of you. The current version of you turns off, and the version of you in the dream turns on. So in fact, all your dreams are real of different versions of you living in other timelines, living in other realities, parallel realities. Like, quantum physics is actually showing us that the past and the future actually don't exist, that all outcomes of everything that you've ever wanted happens simultaneously. And it all depends on who you are being in this current moment, what level of vibration you're projecting out into the world, how you're viewing the world with your perception will dictate the things that you're able to see. It's very similar to like when you learn a new word, you'll start hearing people say it everywhere. The word always existed. It was always there. It was your perception of the word, your awareness of the word existing, that now made it possible for you to see other versions of it everywhere. Same thing when you buy a car. When you buy a car, you buy a new Jeep, and now you're seeing Jeeps everywhere. Well, why weren't you seeing Jeeps everywhere when you were driving like a Toyota Corolla, right? This all has to do with our perception and the way we view reality. And when you turn your lights off, you're simply tuning to a different type of perception. Your brain goes into a theta wave state and eventually a delta wave state that is much different than waking consciousness. Now let's read carefully what Professor David Deutsch says at the Oxford University. To the extent that your decisions depend on random events, there are indeed other, equally real, versions of you in other universes who choose differently and are now enduring the consequences. Think about what he said there. Choose differently. So what does it come down to? It comes down to a choice. Because despite you know, despite there being a path ahead of us, despite there being a sense of predetermined reality in the current version of reality, you are a creator. You are a creator, my friend. You are made in the image of God. You're made in the image of Source. You're made in the image of Source energy. Whatever supreme creator being that you think about when you look up at the sky, you were made in the image of that. You actually have the capabilities to create your world and recreate new worlds just as your world was created by it. And these versions are equally real. And it also says here, and are now enduring different consequences. Photons, atoms, and quantum computations have invisible, differently behaving counterparts, but you still cling to the belief that you only exist in one copy. Again, we're making the analogy here from the microcosm to the macrocosm, and basically trying to say the microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. Things that we see on a macro scale, like us walking around in this world, are mirrored by small communities of bacteria that are mirrored by things at the atomic level, at the subatomic level. And because we observe these photons and atoms behaving in a certain way, we can make the inference, because we're made up of those things, that we also adhere to those laws. This makes no sense because you are made up of atoms, what I just said. If they have invisible counterparts, so must you. So what can you do to be a reality transurfer, right? It's that book that came out many decades ago. The key is in your vibration and staying in the vibration of the thing that you want to be. And it starts by being the thing and then working your way backwards. So you might be a banker working a job right now and you actually want to be a DJ because you have a passion for making music. Well, you are no longer than a banker, because the version of you that would be a DJ would no longer identify as a banker, right? And so even though you're working your banking job, trying to pay the bills, have one foot in this reality, you must have the other foot in the other reality. When as soon as you clock out, you are now a DJ, you're a musician, you're well known, and you must act as if you are that musician. You must go home. You know, the sequence of creating things in your reality always goes heart, mind, guts. Heart, where's your passion? What do you think you care about? Where do you feel that excitement? Feel the excitement. Then the mind creates the plan, creates the way of doing things, of carrying them out. And then the last part is guts. You must go home, Mr. Banker, at the end of the night and actually practice and create songs and spend time with your equipment, and maybe even put yourself out there online on YouTube or whatever, to open up the channels for you to accept and become part of that new reality. And the more you embrace that, the more you tune to that frequency and act as if you're already there, the quicker the things around you will shift to conform to that new reality. And quantum physics shows us this as well, with superposition and particles being in multiple places at once. So with that being said, my friend, are you in the process of shifting your reality? Let me know down in the comments below how this is working out for you. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And until next time, peace.